What's up, family? What's going on? This is your boy Puerto'S 77 coming back at you with another episode of Puerto Live. You know what I'm saying? For those that show up live, I appreciate entering the chat. And if you don't and you're watching this recorded, I hope you enjoy what I'm about to present to you. All right. So just to get right into it, not to be around the bush. First, I do want to say I appreciate everybody, subscribing to me, my family. I appreciate you guys. If you're new, please subscribe to the channel. And if you're enjoying the content, like the content, right? But to get into the topic, two things. And so you see what it says, why I didn't upgrade to the Pro, and why I'm not buying Gran Turismo 5. All right, so last week, I was in the multiplayer podcast, and so far, people walking in, Lex Perez, Jacob, Brewster, Joseph, Scrub. Hey, what's going on, people? Thank you so much for spending your time with me. I appreciate that. But real quick, we won't make this too long because we know it's football Sunday and people getting their grind on destiny, all right? But last Thursday, I was on the multiplayer podcast. And, of course, we are having conversations and stuff like that. And a couple of things came up on like why I'm not buying Gran Turismo or why I didn't buy Drive Club. And then it led to other conversations on, why I didn't upgrade to the Pro, which wasn't part of the multiplayer podcast, but people have been asking, wondering, and stuff like that. All right, so let me address those two comments now. Let me address it. Because, I have fans. I would say family. You all my family, and some of you DM me, and we have conversations one-on-one in the DMs and stuff like that. And I noticed there's been a trend on this too. So I figured, you know what? Instead of just saying it one-on-one to the individuals, let me just make a video, do a live video, and I could address this, all right? So first up, why didn't I upgrade to the Pro, all right? Considering that I'm a huge proponent, that I support, the PlayStation brand is my preferred brand, and it's been the preferred brand since inception because of the things it did, the games that comes out, that's just my taste. So why I didn't upgrade to the Pro, all right? So that's a simple reason. I'm not saying other people shouldn't be, but me personally, I just don't really care about just simply a graphics upgrade. The one thing I probably would have cared if the Pro would have guaranteed every game run at 60 frames. Not so much 1080p, 4K, checkable 4K, but if the improvement was actually 60 frames across all titles, lock 60, I think that would have made me buy the Pro, but only because the performance of the game. I would have, that's about it. But as far as just graphics, graphical features, HDR, they're nice and all, but that's not my priority. Graphics is never my priority. I like good graphics. Don't get it twisted, but that's not my priority. My priority is experience and content. That's what I care for. So to pay $400 for an experience and content that I can already get on my PlayStation, vanilla, I don't need anything else. I'd rather spend $400 in games or put a portion of that money to something I don't already own so I could get a different experience, like buy a Switch or buy an Xbox One, or One S. Get a different experience. Okay, so I do, Horgos. I see your comment. I'll talk to you about that, right? So that's just me. I'm more about experience in gaming. I enjoy the experience in gaming. Graphics is great and all. Don't get me wrong. Graphics is great. But after a while, you get used to it. After a while, you just get used to great looking graphics. But it's the experience and gameplay you will never get used to. As long as new games come out or you purchase new games or whatever, you play new games of various genres, you're going to get an amazing experience based on that. All right? That's just me. All right? Right. So, but some people confuse the fact that that PlayStation is my preferred brand with. They find it weird that I didn't buy the Pro. My PlayStation is my preferred brand because of the content it has over the last 4 generations. The type of games the PlayStation 1, 2, 3, and 4 had that I can't get anywhere else. That's the main reason why I'm PlayStation. It's because of the games. There were games that the console had that other consoles did not produce. Throughout each and every generation. So that's the reason why, so graphics isn't the biggest thing. That's number one. Number two, And this leads into why, like, if when I get my Xbox, I'm gonna go with the One S and not so much the One X, is because I'm not really big on this whole mid-gen refresh. Now, I'm not knocking anybody who jumps on board. You know, if you get the Pro, good for you. Get the best experience you can on what you want. If you get the One X, cool. I'm not jealous or hater on anything. Rule breaker, appreciate the comment. Thank you so much. All right. I'm not so big on. I mean, I will never knock another man for or woman or gamer for having the ability to get better than me. If anything, I'm like, man, good on you. If you got a 4K TV, a PlayStation Pro, and the X, and you're about to get the One X, God bless you. Because I'm glad to see you're in a position where you could do all that and enjoy the very best that you can. You're doing good for yourself. You know, whether you saved up money yourself, you got a great job, or your parents brought in friends. It's good that you have families, friends, anything. However you got it, as long as you didn't rob somebody, you know, you didn't stick somebody up at gunpoint, or you held up, you know, Best Buy or any crazy thing like that. But if you were able to get all this stuff, man, that's outstanding. That's good for you. All right. So I don't want anybody to think that I'm jealous or hating on someone. Quick question. Rule breakers asking if I'm thinking about getting a Nintendo Switch. Yeah, I think I might get a Switch next year or something. I'm liking what they're pushing out. You know, I kind of wish Phantasy Star 2 Online, you know, was guaranteed localized. I would definitely be playing that a lot. But anyway, back to what I'm saying. I'm not in any way jealous or hating on people getting a better graphics than me. That's not what my point is. All right. The reason why I don't like mid-gen refresh, because I feel this was one of the major catalysts on why these platforms had droughts. Now, let's look at PlayStation 4 first. You know, PlayStation always has, from a first-party perspective, exclusive droughts in the first 2 years, whatever. But the reason why we didn't notice that, and again, let me finish. Don't just jump on top of me. The reason why we didn't notice that on the PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2 is because a lot of the exclusive games within the first 2 years came from third party. And during that era, when third party made games, they made it for the best-selling platform, or the platform they believe was going to be the best-selling. So really, third party only supported one platform for the most part, and that was a platform that got their games. So, you know, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 benefited from like Final Fantasy and Metal Gear Solid and all these other games that were exclusive to the console, simply because that was how businesses was done back then. PlayStation 3 and 360, everything changed. A lot of games that were exclusive to PlayStation became multiplats. So now people started seeing the exclusives that came from Sony. They didn't come out to maybe like late second year or third year. You know, that's when Sony started pushing out the first party IPs, right? This gen with the PS4, it kind of took longer than normal. You know, because usually after like 2 years, Sony starts getting really in the groove. Like, you know, like what we're experiencing this year, we would have experienced it last year if it was a normal rotation. But for some reason, it took a little bit longer to get Sony's, you know, the wheels turning, you know, longer than usual. And the only thing I could see why is because some of the money that would have pushed out games earlier probably went towards the development of the PlayStation Pro, you know? So it kind of delayed. I mean, still, PlayStation got some good games, you know, but, you know, the way we're feeling now, where some of us are feeling like 2017 is the best game ever, we should have had that last year. But again, some of the money had to, you know, you can only budget so much. So between the PlayStation VR and the Pro, maybe some money delayed. And I don't want to say delayed, but it slowed down. It slowed some things down. But now that those consoles and devices are out, Sony has nothing to hold them back from pushing out just an immense amount of exclusives, right? Now, the PlayStation VR, I get that. Sony's trying to capitalize on a different experience of gaming. But with the Pro, if the Pro slowed down game development to where we had this, you know, not a low output of exclusives for the first 3 years, I have to ask myself, is that fair to PlayStation vanilla owners that the output slow down just to appease the minority of gamers that will buy the Pro? Because the Pro is only 20% of PlayStation sales, month to month. The majority of the people are buying the Slim, or they're staying on the vanilla that they already own. So the majority of us ain't really benefiting from the Pro. Again, we're not hating, but we're not benefiting from the Pro. We're not benefiting from that. We just want to enjoy the benefits on the platform we already own or the Slim that is being bought. But game development kind of slowed down from an exclusive standpoint because the Pro had a little bit of impact. So is that fair to the rest of us? It's cool that you guys get the best version of games, the best versions of PlayStation games. I have no issues with that. If your game's running native 4K or checkerboard 4K with HDR and it looks so much better than mine, that is cool. But why did a little bit of game development slow down to focus on you guys? That's not fair to us. And that's one of my issues. And we see that with the Xbox One X now. The Xbox was doing fine the first couple of years. It was pushing out exclusives, pushing out game titles. Microsoft was doing what they got to do. Then all of a sudden, everything just slowed down and stalled. And it's not like they ran out of money, because you see new controllers and all this other stuff being produced. But for some reason, game development for exclusives slowed down. And now the Xbox community is getting the One X. Now, of course, on Twitter and on YouTube, everybody's like, oh, this winter, the Xbox community now has access to the best versions of multiplats. So that's something the Xbox community has something to look forward to. But here's my question. Which part of the Xbox community has that to look forward to? What about the portion that's not getting the One X? What do they have to look forward to? What about the ones who still continue to buy the One S because it's a cheaper price? What do they have to look forward to? So this game drought they're going through, is clear that a part of it was because a good focus was hardware. So now they also are feeling the burn of less content to support the minority group of Xbox gamers who's going to buy the One X. Is that fair to the vanilla and Xbox One S owners that they should be going through this little drought simply because at a certain point, Microsoft felt the priority was hardware and services? Well, we're not even going to go into services. We'll just say hardware. Is that fair to them? Because every time I hear Xbox community now has the best version, I'm like, no, you don't. The Xbox community that buys the One X has the best version. Everyone else still has the worst. And they were cool with that. They were cool with having the worst version of multiplats because they bought the console because at the time, it had the most games. It had the most exclusives. So they bought it because of the exclusives. Now they don't got that no more. So what do they do now? This is why I'm not so keen on the mid-gen refresh concept, because it appeases the minority of gamers. Now, if it didn't impact game development or slow down game development to where we still got a consistent exclusives, the games that we want at a consistent rate, then that's fine. That's cool. It doesn't impact me being a vanilla owner. It doesn't impact Xbox One vanilla owners and Slim owners, but you still get your 4K and the best versions. We're both happy. But in order for you to get 4K, 8K, 19K during these mid-gen refreshes means I have to get screwed over by less output of games. That's not fair, because I bought my console too. I have an expectation to play games on my console too. So why do I have to suffer just so you can have better textures? That's not fair. And I'm not saying that we're mad that you got better textures. It's cool. You got better textures and you're willing to pay for it. Cool. But why does the game output have to be compromised for us? What does me wanting more exclusives have to be sacrificed in order for you to get better textures and lighting? I shouldn't have to go through that. You want better texture and lighting? Cool, take it. But I still want my exclusives. I shouldn't have to go through droughts in order for your preference to be made. This is pretty much robbing Peter to pay Paul. So I got to have less output of games in order for you to get 4K textures. No. That's not cool. That's not cool at all. You should be able to get your textures, your 4K, checkerboard 4K, whether it's from the Pro or the 1X, but I'm still in getting my output of games. I shouldn't have sparse for 3 years. And Sony said it themselves that their lineup was sparse. I shouldn't have to go through that simply because the budget was focused on the Pro. And Xbox One S gamers shouldn't have to be going through what they're going through simply because the budget was focused on the 1X. The 1X has nothing to do with the 1S or the vanilla owners that's just going to play that. Why are they getting screwed over? Why did I get screwed over from a sparse 3 years? I'll be honest. I didn't buy my PlayStation 4 till 2015 when Bloodborne came out. I didn't buy it in 2013, and I wasn't playing the PlayStation 4 2014 because it didn't have a lot of output of games. So when people think I'm just fanboying, loving a company, bro, my opinions is on reality. I don't make up some imaginary world on YouTube and then in real life I do something different. No, what my views and how I feel is how I apply my real life decisions. That's why I never made fun of Xbox for 720p, 1080p. I don't believe in that. So I don't care. I don't talk about that stuff. I don't believe in that. What I say is what I believe in. People think I'm fanboying that I didn't recognize that there was a bit of drought on PlayStation. I do recognize that. That's why I didn't buy it till 2015. It didn't have what I wanted 2013 and 2014. It didn't have it. So I waited 2015. Then by that point, it got what I wanted. And then I knew the immediate future lineup it was getting. So boom, I got my PS4. But normally I would never had to wait that long. It was almost 2 years. I was a year and a half before I got a PlayStation 4. I never waited that long to get a PlayStation. Most of the time I got my PlayStation within 6 months. And it had the games I wanted to play. This year was different. You know, and at first I didn't understand. I'm like, wow, it took a while for me to get a PlayStation. And I couldn't put 2 and 2 together. At first I thought maybe game development is much harder now. But in truth is, game development is as easy as it's ever been. And at the time in 2015 and early 2016, I didn't get it. And then the announcement of Project Neo happened. And then it officially became the PlayStation Pro. And I put 2 and 2 together. Sony didn't have the budget to really go all out the first 3 years to push a lot of exclusives. It slowed them down. Now they're doing it. But that's because, you know, the money to initially break ground on the Pro was already invested. So a lot of us PlayStation dudes, you know, especially if you bought your console at launch, some of you were a little upset on the drought or it's taking a bit too long to push exclusives. It was because of the Pro. And I also would say the VR, but it makes sense on why Sony went VR. That's just a new way of gaming. Now, I ain't gonna say new as in they created it, but you know, it's a new experience. Trying to take advantage of technology. I get that. But this Pro, just so simply you could get better graphics in HDR, that was a huge factor. The budget had to be properly divided up. You know? Now, the Xbox community is going through it. Some don't care because their focus is on the 1X. Their mind is on the best version of gaming. So they get that. They don't see the drought or they don't care about it because their focus and priority is on something else. It's the 1X and what it's going to bring to the table. But there's another segment of the Xbox community that don't care about the power. They want the games. The very reason why they bought the Xbox One from the start was because of games. And now it dried up. And they have to wait. And they're not feeling that. Because they're not going to get anything out of 4K gaming because they're not buying the 1X. So this is why I'm not really cool on mid-gen refresh. To me, it's something where they're robbing Peter to pay Paul. And that's not cool. So that's my point for the Pro and stuff. The next point is why I'm not buying Gran Turismo Sport. So it's a weird question because I get this, and I got this from a mixture of PlayStation fans and Xbox fans. They feel that if I support the brand, I should buy Gran Turismo because it's a first party, and I need to support first party. I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, my family, my fellow gamers, that is a terrible narrative. You should not be buying games to support a company. I don't care who it is, PlayStation or Xbox or Nintendo. You need to buy games because that's what entertains you. These are entertainment devices. These are not our children. I don't put PlayStation 4 on my tax return as a dependent. I don't take care of PlayStation. PlayStation take cares of me. PlayStation's job is to entertain me. PlayStation's not my child. I don't have medical coverage on the console. I don't put the console on my tax return. The job of that console is to make me happy. You make me happy. I'm not here to make sure, Yoshida can buy another BMW. That's not my job. I'm not here to put Yoshida's kids or Andrew House's kid through private school. That's not my job. My job is not to make sure Mark Cerny can afford his villa off the coast of Spain. That's not my responsibility. That is not my responsibility. My responsibility is not to make sure their pocket is fat. Their job is to entertain me. You put out the product that entertains me, I will buy it. If it doesn't look entertaining, I'm not buying it. Someone else can, though. Just because I don't find it entertaining doesn't mean other people won't. So in terms of Gran Turismo Sport or any Gran Turismo, I don't like racing games. They're not fun for me. It's boring for me. I'm not trashing the genre. I'm just saying my impersonal enjoyment. I just don't get, for me, driving a car, going in circles for 2 hours just to say I did it faster than you. I don't see enjoyment in that. That's just not a me thing. But that doesn't mean you guys can't enjoy that. Some of you love cars and love racing. That's your thing. So do I advocate Sony not to make racing games? No. That's probably Gran Turismo is the biggest franchise on PlayStation. So there's millions of gamers that's going to buy this. I'm just not one of them because I don't like the genre. So why would I pay $60 to get it just to say I bought it to put money in Sony's pocket? Why would I give Sony $60 just to give it to them? That doesn't make sense. If the game is good and people enjoy it, those people will buy it. I'm putting $60 on the games that's going to entertain me because that's what a console is. It's an entertainment device. You put out the products I want, I'm going to buy it. That's it. It's simple. I don't support gaming in the sense that you're my child. You're not on my taxes. Your name is not on the deed to my house. You're not part of my will and testimony. The moment you screw up, I'm going to dump you in the trash and move on to another platform that provides better entertainment than you. I used to be a Sega fanboy. Sega was my shit. Sega's no longer here. So I moved on to a new console, which just so happened to be PlayStation. Some people went from Sega to Xbox. Some people went from Sega to Nintendo. Some people went from Nintendo to PlayStation. It's what entertains you, and you pay for it. But if it doesn't entertain you, don't buy it just because. These dudes who work at Sony and Microsoft, they make more money than some of you. You'll be okay. You don't have to buy a game just to say you buy it. That's not how it works. Listen, when I hear people say I bought 500 games, money-wise, I'm impressed. I'm like, damn, you bought that many games with the money you got? All right. But other than that, I'm not impressed because you don't play them. Play your games. Just play them. I will be more impressed you bought 10 games and beat 10 games than I am you bought 500 games and only beat 2.
The person who bought 10 games and beat 10 games, that's the gamer. He's playing games. Maybe the person's only limited to buying 10 games a year. But while he or she buys, they're playing it and they're beating it. Buying 500 games just tells me you just have a lot of expendable cash. But if you only play 2 games the whole year, what are you doing? Play your games. Play your console. If you're a PlayStation gamer and you bought an Xbox for exclusives, play them. If you are an Xbox gamer and you bought a PlayStation 4 for exclusives, play them. Actually, don't just go on YouTube and say, oh, I got an Xbox and it sucks. And then when people realize you're not even touching it. Or if you're an Xbox dude, you'd be like, oh, I got a PlayStation. There ain't shit to play. And you're not touching all these exclusives, then what are you doing? Why even buy the platform if you're just going to bash it and say it collects dust? Play the game. Again, when it comes to games, I'm going to buy what entertains me. Now, some people will be like, well, you mentioned, genres and things, and you don't buy every genre. Listen, the reason why I hype support is because I'm thinking of the collective fan base as a whole. Like, again, I don't like racing games, but that doesn't mean I won't advocate for racing genres to be on the PlayStation, because I know there's gamers that enjoy that. I advocate for games to be on the platform because somebody will buy them. It may not be Call of Duty successful, but at the very least, there's going to be people that has the option to buy the game. It's options. It's the ability to go to a shelf or go to the store and be able to buy the game because it's available. That's what I advocate. I advocate support in the biggest sense of the word. That's why I advocate for Japanese games on Xbox. That's why I bash Phil Spencer for not going to Japan 3 years ago when he decided to do it this year. I'm like, bro, you should have done that 3 years ago. I'm not bashing the Xbox for not having Japanese games. I'm bashing Phil Spencer for not doing his part to get Japanese games on the Xbox. But some dudes don't understand that. I'm criticizing the man in the suit for not doing his due diligence to get content on that platform. I'm not bashing the gamers or the Xbox gamers for not liking Japanese games. Those are just, fanboys on Twitter. What I'm saying is put the games on the box and let the gamers that are there make the decision if they want it or not. But that's just me. I appreciate the time you spent with me. I said, again, I didn't want to make this too long, but these are my thoughts and opinions on these topics. I hope they were helpful for everybody that was in the chat. Halo Storm, Urban Gamer, D, I Do Juegos, Taco, all of you guys. Thank you so much. You're my family. I love this family. You guys are always there. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? And I'll check you out soon. I'll probably do another Porto's Point tomorrow. Whatever. If there's topics you want me to talk about, believe me, my Twitter is open. DM me. I even have my DM open to non-followers. So even if you're not following me on Twitter, you can send me a DM. I have that open. I don't block it. Just send me your questions. And if it's consistent, if I notice, if that's something that's the community wants me to answer, I'll do a video. I'll do a Porto's Point live, and answer them. But anyway, thank you, family, for spending the time with me. You guys are awesome. Hit the like button. Please retweet on your Twitter or whatever social media account you guys are using. Thank you so much for the support. I would love this channel to grow even more. Please help me do that, family, and I appreciate it. All right? You guys take care. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And enjoy your time with friends, family, and, of course, gaming. Take care, brothers and sisters. This is Puerto Rock 77, and I'm out.